So the first thing I'm going to do to this hair painting is to give the entire canvas a coat of acrylic medium. It can be gloss or matte, gel or liquid, it doesn't matter. It's to seal the pores of the canvas and stop the paint from being absorbed into the canvas. So in actual fact it slows the drying time down, which is what we all want from acrylic painting. Now I'm going to knit a coat of raw umber as an imprimatura. That's a layer of paint on which to paint, because it's much better to paint on that rather than white canvas. Just dry that off, make sure it's dry completely, give it a few minutes to completely dry, and then with a small brush I can then start putting in some of those relevant little points that I don't want to lose, that are important, like the placing of the eye, the ears, the nose, the shape of the head, etc. The important parts, basically. So just really loosely knocking these things in. It's going to be a simplistic or a simplified Impressionist painting. That is, it's going to be an Impressionist, but there's going to be a lot of areas that I'll show you how to paint in just block colours and then adjust those as we go along. So just basically putting in these outlines and shapes here, the important ones. Little shadow area there. And now I'll change to my large 1-inch flat bristle brush, which I use in all my paintings. And I've left links in the description below for all the tools and materials that I use. You can purchase them from those links. Then it helps to support me and my channel and helps me to keep bringing you these videos. So I'm just knocking in a very light background colour with a bit of yellow ochre, white and a tiny little bit of red to give it a slight pink tint here and there. So what I'm doing, I'm not giving the entire background this one coat. I'm going to vary it slightly by adding a little bit more yellow ochre or a little bit more of the pink here and there to give it variety. And I'll also make it a little bit more grey blue at the top there. But it needs to go a little bit, I'll get it a little bit lighter down there at the bottom. Then when I've done that, I'll get a little bit of Payne's grey. In a moment, I'll just put some Payne's grey on there like that with the white, and it produces this lovely light blue-ish kind of grey, which is gives the impression of sky and a background, because I want to have this background quite abstract in a way. It's simplified. I'm not going to be painting detailed clouds. A little bit of warmth added into that now will make it, a little bit of red added into that tiny little touch will make it warmer. That's what I've done at the bottom area there. Now a little bit of burnt sienna, and I can start to put in the basic tone of the animal. So it's going to have this fur sort of coloured tone there. And I can make that a little bit darker to give it like a greyish tone, which has a slight warmth to it. So, and a little bit of raw umber added into that will give me a nice darker brown tone. Now raw umber is a very useful colour to use, as is Payne's grey. But raw umber I use a lot to add to colours if I just want to dull them down slightly. So if I've got a bright orange or whatever, yellow, just adding a touch of that will just dull it down sufficiently. If I don't want it to be that bright, then I can just dull it down slightly. So you should definitely have raw umber on your palette and Payne's grey, because I'm using the Payne's grey now to put in some of this lightish bluey coloured grey on its ears, on its head and its back, just here and there. And I'm not just putting flat colour again, I'm putting variations. So I'm going to get it darker towards the bottom here, as it's sitting down, and then I can get it even darker, like that, certain darker areas. All just done with this one big brush still. I'm not going down to a small brush, not just yet. I will do, but not at the moment. I'm still quite happy using this brush for this. Like that. It's got some unusual angles of fur on its shoulder blades that you must always be aware of. Try and study the anatomy of animals if you can. If you're painting animals, you should really get to know the anatomy of them so that you can paint them from different angles and know how the light would fall on that animal at certain angles. So you need to know the skeletal structure and the muscle structure. I spent many an hour from when I was at college. I used to go next door to the a natural history museum, and I'd spend hours just sitting there drawing all the stuffed animals. And I learned an awful lot from doing that. Right, now that background is dry, that layer is dry, I'm going on with the second layer. So I'll give it a quick spray of water just to allow the paint to move around a little bit easier. And then I can start putting the same colours in there, but this time slight variations of them. So there's a little bit more yellow ochre in that there. And you can see how abstract and loose I'm actually painting. I've still got to be careful around the outline of the profile of the animal, make sure that's accurate. I don't want to lose that. Okay, I've got those lights in there. Now, because this is the second layer, it goes on so much nicer and so much easier because it's blending. It's blending much nicer now. And also, because I'm painting similar colours to what's underneath, it looks a lot smoother. Okay, I'm just putting in some of these brush marks to get a little bit more pink tone into that there. Because I want this to be, as I said, a little bit more abstract, this background here. I don't want to be detailed clouds or anything like that, just to give the impression and hint that this is a sky background. So I'm going to put those lights in once again over the top. Once I've established the colour scheme there, I need to make sure I've got the right lightness of that colour to make that animal really stand out. So you can see how I'm painting in these block shapes. I'm not trying to make nice fancy clouds. That's not necessary because the animal is going to be the centre of interest, not the sky. Okay, now I've gone to a rake brush, which is a great little tool if you want to paint fur very easily. Get yourself one of these. If you're an animal artist, you should have a rake brush. You can see what it does. It produces all these little fur-like brush marks very, very quickly and easily. This one's getting a little bit worn now. I must get myself a new one, but I will persevere with this. It's got a lot of life left in it yet. I'll add some of those colours into the face as well there, just to harmonise and make the edges of the fur a little bit more unkempt. Like that. And I'll just keep moving this paint around and just fiddling with it basically until I'm really, really happy with it before I carry on to another area. So like the back of the ears here needs a bit defining. It's a little bit of a darker area. Okay, same as some of these other areas, need to have some darks in, like that. And then a bit of that Payne's grey added into that to blend it into that brown. Okay, now I'm putting some more of that Payne's grey and white in there now, but because I'm going over the top of this colour that's already there, it produces this lovely nice bluey grey tone. And I can put in some, again, variations of that colour. Making it a little bit lighter, especially this area behind at the chin and round its eye. Like that. And I'll put some of these marks in the fur on its back there, because I say the fur along its spine and its shoulders falls in a particular way. So you must be careful to observe that whenever you're painting an animal like this. I'm not doing it detailed, of course, but just to give the impression of the fur falling in that particular manner. Make it darker, make that really stand out now under its chin, its jaw. I'm putting those darks back into the ears, where I may have just lost the edges slightly. Still with this rake brush, because I can use it on its edge to produce lines as well as flat to produce the fur. It's surprising just what you can do with one brush. Okay, slowly building up the contrast there to make sure I've got it dark enough. But you must learn to paint quickly with acrylics so that you can blend with them. One of the reasons people fail with acrylics is because they don't paint quickly enough. So learn to do that. And if you're painting loose and free like this, in this Impressionist style, then it's an awful lot easier to blend that paint. Just establishing the shape of the eye there, re-establishing it, and the base of the ear, just there. Let's get this darker brown colour, just to put in some shadow areas there on the back of the head, and also the shape of the ear where it meets the head, these little creases. And I can use this dark colour to put one or two little straggly hairs in here and there. So it's sort of detail, but it isn't. It's not realistic detail. I'm not going all out with every single hair. Just little bits here and there. It's all you need, because it's a suggestion then. It's not a true depiction of fur, it's a suggestion. Put those highlights around the eye to really make that eye stand out there. It has these little white markings. And one or two on the ears, just where the light's catching them. And I will re-establish those later on, but I need to get this nose correct now. A little bit of warmth into the nose, and then a little darker edge here and there on the profile, the bridge of the nose, and on the actual nose itself. And while I've got this little brush, I'll just put one or two little fine ragged little hairs there on the eyebrow, like that. Make that nose a little bit darker there. That's better. And make the profile of the mouth area a little bit better, more defined. Now, using the splayed bristle technique with this old nylon brush, I pressed it down into the paint, and it splays the bristles and allows me to paint all these little fur areas within one brush stroke. It's a bit like a rake brush, but in a smaller variation. So you can actually control it a little bit easier. You can do these little smaller areas. because I want the highlight on the back of the head and on the shoulder blades. And I'm going to just make that a little bit more red in the ear because I want the light shining through that. Makes it look like the light shining through. And then just blend that with the darker area. I'll just keep tweaking this as I go along, all these little bits, until it starts to look right to me. Now you could take this to a further stage from this painting. Now you could go on and start to do a detailed painting, a photorealistic painting. You know, and this could be your basic underpainting in which to take a leapfrog from, if you know what I mean. But I don't want to do that. I just want to leave this simplistic Impressionist painting. So I normally scratch my signature into the wet paint, dark paint, but there's no dark on this, so I'm signing my name with the brush, bottom right hand corner, like that, with a small brush, like that. Now I'm going to put in a few of these whiskers. So spray with a light mist spray the canvas first, just so it's damp, and then I can start to apply these with this long liner brush or rigger brush. Put those whiskers in and bristles, and you'll find that it's painting them is so much easier once you're painting on a damp canvas, not wet but damp. You certainly wouldn't be able to do this on a dry canvas, not long thin brush strokes. Perhaps you could do short ones, but not long ones like whiskers. So you have to make sure it's damp, but not running with water. Okay, a few little highlights on those ears there, those creases. That's it, a little highlight on the back of the head. Now, a few of those little highlight areas once again into those ears. And I'm also going to put them elsewhere. I'm going to put this little grey dot in the eye. And also I'm going to put a little bit of orange in the lower part of the eye because they have a very colourful eye. So just a hint of that colour there. Now with pure white, a little dot in that eye, and it comes to life. Again, in those highlights on the ears, around the eye. And I'll put some colours into the muzzle area as well. Now with the splayed bristle brush, I'm just going to do a few more little areas of grey and light grey on its back. And then one or two little touches, and then that is the painting finished. If you have enjoyed this video and hopefully found it interesting and entertaining, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to click on the little bell icon if you wish to be notified of my latest videos. I am always interested in your questions and comments, and I do try to answer every one of them. Hopefully I will see you on my next painting video, so until then, have a lovely day and happy painting!